Start again, sir. Yes, my dear students, good afternoon and welcome to this particular session for open elective subject introduction for computer science department. So for this academic semester, we are offering two subjects. One is cyber security and principles of cyber security. Second one is C++ programming language. So I am going to welcome for today's faculties with their resource persons, Professor Raghavendra Jadhav sir and Prashant Niranjan sir. So heartily welcome all the students and our faculty members and industrial persons. So next time I hand over this particular session to the Raghavendra sir, and sir would like to introduce the subjects like principles of cyber security. Raghavendra sir, it's over to you. Please start.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Girish, sir. Yeah, the first subject, what is been introduced right from the Department of Computer Science is principle of cyber security. So probably when I say the cyber security, so it deals with the security of your internet. When I can say the internet, it is a wide world area network where n number of systems are being connected with each other, and probably there are many chances that the hacker can hack your contents. So very like vulnerable information will be taken away by the intruder, and he can like hack your data. So to deal with certain conditions, what we have provided is one course or one subject that is said as a principle of cyber security. So here what we are going to do is we are going to learn certain basics with respect to your cyber security. What do you mean by ethical hacking? Okay, so when it comes to the ethical hacking, it involves an authorized attempt to gain unauthorized access to a computer system, application, or data. So here we are saving our part of data. If you are joined with one of the company as a cyber security expert, you are looking after all the network of that specific company and deal with like all the data which is belongs to your company, and you are providing a security to your data. So when this subject is being introduced, we are having certain practical aspects with respect to this subject, because each and every topic which is covered here, so probably first unit to second unit, it's deal with certain theoretical aspects, and when it comes to the unit 3 and unit 4 and unit 5, we are going to deal with certain practical aspects. Okay, so we are going to deal with certain like practical handling. We are going to test with certain test cases where we are going to work on certain things, and we are going to check their our connection with that of outside world. Okay, and hence we are going to check our security level with respect to a current system network. Okay, so here I introduce or I welcome one of our alumna, Vaishnavi Harikan. Okay, so she's a part of a TCS currently now. She is working as a cyber security security operations center. Okay, and she works as a cyber security associate analyst. And what she does is she monitors, analyze, and investigate the malware, AWS, and network alert. Okay, I heartily welcome Vaishnavi Harikan. Okay,
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, welcome. And she's already participated in like Smart India Hackathon, and she won the prize. Okay, and that has been held in the Hubli. And this is the little introduction about Vaishnavi Harikan. I hand over the session to you, Vaishnavi Harikan, because as she is a research person for this like cyber security subject, and she may like explore more about the principle of cyber security and what is the role and what is the importance of this subject in the academic curriculum, and what is the future era that you can see with respect to this subject. Okay, Vaishnavi, I welcome you once again. I will hand over this session to you. You can continue.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are already audible.
Yeah. I will present my screen so that could just help me to picturize and for you all to understand better. So,
It's visible. Yeah, it's visible. Yes, you can continue.
Okay. I am here to talk about cybersecurity. It could be a hobby or a profession. So, what is cybersecurity? Here, we can put term cybersecurity in different words. It's a vast technology domain. It's like an evergreen domain that usually it starts with your computer systems, for your hardware, software, all the networks that are being established, all the data that's being processed over network. Here, the cybersecurity comes into picture. So mainly over here, we have like different definitions over here. One is like to protect your systems that is connected across the network. Then to protect your data that is associated with the network. Your data can be anything, like our daily, everyday, day-to-day life, whatever data that's being processed, like your bank data, your college, your passwords, everything that is being stored by you, any damage of a software or hardware. So that protection is what comes under cybersecurity. So your system should not be infected by a malicious program. You all could have any adware attacks. You all could have daily any kinds of virus worms that are being attacking your system. Then you all have phishing attacks where mail is being sent to you all, and you all could have getting you all could be getting a malicious kind of links, so that could lead you all to something damage your softwares, even that could attack your hardware systems also. And one more thing is misuse and mislead of data. Misuse of data is, as we all know, very famous term rightly going on, that is inside trading. How the stock markets are being trying to be manipulated. So a lot of risk that has been generated. So that's whatever that's happening over network, and that has been happening over with your data, and where your network is associated. So that's where cybersecurity comes into picture. Then we have what is the importance. Importance in day-to-day life, from the morning that you start till the end, your cybersecurity is really important. That has to protect your personal, important data protection. Then you have your privacy. Then there's the safety. In data protection, I'll give an example like your banking details. Then you also have your like personal health data, then all the data that is associated with your treasuries assets. Then privacy is like, for example, you like in WhatsApp you'll have end-to-end encryption, then you'll have different sources where an end-to-end encryption is being considered. Example, when you are browsing, you all are suggested to use a secured website with an HTTPS marks. So that's where it will help you all to be more cautious, and it will keep your system free from the infections. Then we have why we have cybersecurity is like, one is monitoring the unwanted source of attacks. We are seeing every day there is a phishing attacks. There is, you can say, there's a ransomware happening. There's an adware. There's a spyware that's hindering all the growth of economy of the country. Let it be a company, let it be an individual who have been attacked. So cybersecurity, what it does is it keeps monitoring what is happening across, tries to keep you all secure, and keeps unwanted programs away from the system. So we have like various importance across that. It's like every day we are using cybersecurity, but we don't realize, and that's what makes it more important for us. Then cybersecurity as a profession, it's an evergreen profession. This could be totally agreed. Here, how it is, your cybersecurity as a analyst or as an engineer, you start. The first thing it will be started. So whenever you own a system, from the time you start your system, the programs are being monitored. There's always a anti-malwares. There will be antivirus scans that will be happening. So that's like the first thing that gets started, and that is the last thing to be end. It's like once you complete all your program, you shut down the computer. Then it's the cyber security and the analyzing part that works. It's like it just checks if your system is right, if it's monitored correctly. Is there anything that's been hidden in the system or unwantedly dumped in the system? Then we have a widespread opportunities. It's just not like that. You all are like, it's not always. You can't just see that we'll be hacking like that was shown in the movie. It's like not just you have to know the whole harsh code. You'll be like continuously typing. Cybersecurity is a widespread. A small from network, IP, as that's the intrusion prevention system. the networks that can be hacked or network that can be tried to manipulate, the alerts that are generated, like any phishing alerts, malware, incidents that are being detected. So all these need a different type of, a different type of engineers that will be looking into them. So it's widespread. And most importantly, every organization will have a cybersecurity team. It will have a cybersecurity from the basic analyst to the main scientist role. So it's always, it's a compulsory domain. There can be, like, something missed out anywhere, but the cybersecurity is never missed. So that's an important aspect of our organization. Then there are very interesting tools. Why I'm mentioning these tools over here is, here you don't need to know scripts or codes. You have to know your tools. Tools are like, it's a very easy thing. It's like, how is your MS Word, MS Excel, how you all have like SEO kind of tools where you can try to develop websites. Same in cybersecurity, we have tools that will help us monitor the alerts, that will help us to investigate. We get data. So whatever we do in cybersecurity is a collected data that's been present. What we will be mainly looking at, how to collect the data, how can we make it more presentable, the visualization should be more appropriate, and how it could be brought into the system for monitoring so that we don't miss out anything that's happening wrong in this other system. There could be many endpoint system. Endpoint system is nothing but the user who are in the organization, any users who have been associated with the system. So that's very important that we always take care. So these tools helps us, and it's very handy. It's not like that we have to know the coding part and all. It's just we have a very, it's a very easy trainings we get in these tools, and they are like very quick and adaptable. It's just like your gaming, how you learn stuff. It's the same thing with these tools. It's Every business industry must have domain, because the safer is your data, safer is your strategy. That's a exponential growth to an industry. So this is how it makes an important aspect, and that is why a cybersecurity profession is an evergreen one. Then career opportunities over here is multiple. You have this huge and huge SOC and SIM analyst. SOC is nothing but a security operations center. What happens here is, in an organization there are multiple systems, and over there we have to keep a look on what is being downloaded in the organization systems. We need to check where is the system communicating, either on the network, is there any external drives that have been attached, and is there something malicious files that have been put into a system, or is there any transfer of data outside the system. So to deny that access, to keep a check what is happening, and that access has to be monitored. That's the reason we have a SOC and SIM analyst. In this security operation, we will be, it will be on level 1, level 2, and level 3 analyst will be there. So over here, what they do is, they check about the programs, and they pass it down to the user. They try to communicate with the user if anything is malicious. SIM analyst is same, that is the information and event manager. They will be more associated with all the information that's being collected from the system. For a SOC to monitor, we need the data that's happening in the system and the organization. So SIM will come into picture. Your SIM will teach, get a source for us in a presentable way. The data will be reaching to SOC via SIM. A SIM is, again, I repeated, that's an information and event management analyst, where the SIM helps to reach the data to a SOC analyst in a presentable way. So here there are different tools that will come into picture. Here a data analyst can be associated with a SIM analyst. So these are different opportunities with SOC and SIM. Then we have a SIM engineer who help in developing and writing these rule books. So there will be a certain automation happening, like there can be certain, false positive. There can be certain programs that are non-malicious and still can be triggered as malicious one. Why? Because they are downloaded from a third party or an external source. So when that alert either can be blocked or either can be allowed to be triggered as a malicious program. So that has been, that has been fine tuned with the sim engineer. So they just help us like how to write the rule books, how to write the playbooks. That's are associated. Then we have a malware analyst, engineer, and scientist. Here, malware is anything like your virus, worms, trojan. There are different kinds of attacks that have been happening, ransomware, adware, spyware. So all these, there is a method that have been injected into your system, so that has to be monitored well, and that could come in any form. It could come in a form of a picture and you need to click and the link will be redirected. Then there could be a lot of mails back to back. There could be like a meeting link that you have to join and that turns out to be a malicious link. In an advertisement, when you click, you maybe a malicious program that just get downloaded. And trojans are nothing but they are like a programs that come as a legit program, but once you install it, we get to know there are like malicious program behind it, so it's in a hidden form. Then ransomware is your either your system is blocked or system access is being captured and you can't access it until unless you just don't pay a lump sum money to them. So these are different kinds of attacks that have been happening daily. So we have to look into them and we need to monitor, and that has to be analyzed. The more it has been fetched, the more it has to the deep investigation that takes place helps the organization to be safer and to patch all the loopholes that are present. So that's the reason we have the malware analyst, engineer, and scientist. Then we have the playbook developers. As I mentioned, certain rule cases has to be monitored and they have to be automated. Not everything can be monitored, so automatically a system should know what has to be blocked and what has to be accepted. So that's what a playbook developers particularly do. And then we have the tool developers, which are the tools that we are using, like IBM QRadar, then Splunk, then Debo, Exor, Cortex. These are different tools that will help you to monitor and analyze, like more like investigating the any of the alerts that are being received. So, okay, I just want to mention alerts are nothing but if there is something suspicious or malicious happening, and it has to be investigated and it has to be looked into. If that is happening in any of the system, then we participate to look what is, like we just investigate deep to know what is happening. So that's an alert. Then IPS and firewall. See, IPS is intrusion prevention system. This will come at the before the firewall. So any malicious IP trying to communicate, that has been blocked. So in case if it's very malicious, it's been like from a loophole or something, there is a particular instance that is helping to get inside IPS, then firewall will come into picture. It will block most of the IPs. So to look into that, to see what is happening in and around all the network inbound and outbound connections, either the system trying to communicate or the outside source trying to communicate with the system, that will be monitored by firewall and IPS. My role as an analyst, I will be monitoring the alert. Here, my alerts are like different kinds. There are AWS guard duty alerts, there are SaaS alerts, network alerts, malware alerts. I would like to take an example. If there's a malware alert, what we do is first we check for the severity. It could be low, medium, and high. However, the organization has defined them. So low and medium ones, we just give a less priority. That means we can just try to resolve them by end of a day or a two. There is a high severity, we try to investigate and resolve it within 6 hours, or actually it should be within 4 hours. At max for a deep level investigation, we take it to 6 hours to 8 hours. Then we fetch the details, and everything is available in the tools. You don't have to write any code or fetch these. These are like everything available in a displayed form. We just need to look what is happening. And when we fetch details, we get the host name. Host name is nothing but your system name, IP address, who's the user that's been logged into, what are the multiple DNS requests. DNS request is domain name system request. Example, from an organization, they are trying to connect to a Facebook site or Instagram site or any gaming site. So those all details will come. The file names that are there in the system, the file names associated. There is something called as hash value. Hash value defines their reputation, whether it's clean, it's malicious, or either it's a suspicious one. We have multiple tools to check whether that is a reputation is what is the status of the reputation. We like have virus total, IP abuse. There are multiple like that, and these are all available tools for us. It's not again like any tedious work. We just need to put it into the system, check, run analysis. Then we, if there is any malicious link running over, we have a sandbox. Sandbox is like nothing gets infected to your system. Everything is virtual. It just happens in the sandbox environment. It just tells us what the report tells us, like what is happening, what is the process that has been taking up, and then it will be shown to us as a report and the details like how malicious it could be, what is happening. Example, if there is a site that is taking up your password and username. So what is happening next? So that sandbox records all the procedures and form it as a report and produces it. So we'll be looking for that. And then we check anything third party applications, anything open source, and that should not be in the system, or anything that has been downloaded through a even you can say advertisements or any system that is of a advertised containing sponsored versions. Like there will be multiple, copy one, copy two applications present. So we have to be careful. We take a license version, or there is an organization approval to take a third party or open source application. So we look for them and we try to like more analyze them, and we confirm with the tools and security operations like security analysts whether this is approved or this could be either ignored or either they have to be resolved. Then we'll analyze is nothing but again we will be checking what is the source of the malware, how it has come into system, what is the user trying to do with that, and is the user communication happening. And there is in security tools, there's one plus pointers. They are always, if something very malicious, they get automatically blocked and the process will be killed. So if that is killed, so we can just reduce the hardness to for the investigation part. We could just take it as slightly easy. If it's not blocked, then it's an issue case that we have to look in how we can the quick we talk to the user, we'll come and communicate to the user, asking them what was the business justification that was happening. Then we have the mitigation steps. Here in mitigation steps, we will be trying to connect to the user. We'll be finding what was the again business justification happening, and is it approved by the organization. Then remediation will be definitely we have to remove the malicious programs from the system. Then remediations could be they could ask we could provide them a legit URL. URL is your legit links so that they could download the proper and the right version of the application with a license, and the service desk can help them install that. Uh, what little more about cyber security? There are various things. Cyber security dictionary is a huge thing. Okay, we get lots and lots of words every day. The dictionary is getting increasing. Recently, we are not recently. It was just year ago, something like that. There was a 0-day attack. There were different attacks that's been happening. There were like multiple ransomware attacks happening. So virus, worms, and Trojan is one kind of a malware. Virus is nothing but your malicious program that is activated only once you try to interact. Then works also are malicious type of programs, but they get activated automatically. Either you interact, you don't interact. Once they're in a system, they start activating and they start to harm your system. Then we have the Trojan. That comes in a hidden form, a very good reputed application it comes, but it turns out to be a malicious program in the background. Then we have something called as a SQL injection. These are different types of queries that are being run to interrupt with your databases, like interrupt with your, you can say any programs that has been running, any website programs that are taking any additional details. So that is being pushed and turned to a different site so they can access all the details. Then we have a Zap application that's to check the vulnerability in the websites. So very good open source tool that will help you check the website vulnerabilities. So is that website legit or anything that says a loophole, or is the data being leaked anywhere? So that is That happens with these application, open source applications. Then we have XOR. XOR is again a SOC monitoring tool. Then we have a Devo. This is a data analytics platform as well, where we fetch all the details into Devo from the organization system, and they are being trimmed, fine tuned, and then displayed in XOR. Then we have a QRadar. QRadar is another SOC monitoring and SIM tool that's help us to analyze with the investigation. Then we have the DLP, that is the data loss protection. Then there are a lot of rights, laws, and regulations that are associated with cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not just that you're going to monitor or something you're just going to keep investigating. This is just my part that I have been doing, and I am explaining what I have been doing through my term as a cybersecurity analyst. But there is a lot of other stuff. Either you go with the law, either you go with a research, either you go with a professional engineer. So every step there is cybersecurity involved, and then how that has to be legalized. There are protection laws that comes, then different rights and laws. Then we have the firewall and IPS. As I mentioned, intrusion prevention system comes before firewall. They will be blocking all the connection with the system that is happening over the network. Like firewall will be checking all the inbound, outbound traffics that are happening. Then there will be patches. Patches are like nothing but if there is any loophole, still it's allowing the malicious files to get inside. So that has to be repaired or that has to be checked. So that will be happening at the background. So the organization looks into it. Then we have the rules. Rules are like which IP range can be allowed. What is the IP? Like what are the conditions for the IP to be let inside to communicate. Then automation is like it cannot be done manually, so that has to be taken care. So that is all automated. Then we have monitoring, incident, and detections. Monitoring is nothing but we will be just looking into the systems, what is happening, how we will be focusing on the individual system. That monitoring help us generate the alert. Then we have incident and detection. Incident is something that can be malicious and cannot be malicious. So it's on, the tool cannot decide it. That's the reason it will be raised as an incident. So analyst will look into that and decide how it could be either resolved, or it could be a false positive, or it could be expected behavior tunings. Then we have the detection. Detection is nothing but if it's a malware, if it's a malicious, and that has to be resolved, then it comes under a detections. Then we have reports, analyze, remediations. These are nothing but once it's been investigated, once it's been thoroughly looked into, we have to make a correct report so that it will help in the future enhancement. It will help in like how in case if the same scenario occurs, how it could be investigated, or it could be in a different scenario, but there will be a backup files how it was investigated, how you could make a more of a better version what existed. So reports are required, analyzation and documentation is required. Remediations could be for different kinds of malicious programs. Then hacking is nothing but a system. A system is being accessed by a different person who is unethical, and he's in return either he's trying to work with the data, he's trying to work accept your unnecessary data, he trying to hinder your progress, and the attacks are nothing but yes, your system is destroyed. One of that. DOS is denial of services. It's like you can say when a system is for its request is multiple, back to back. There is a request for services, and then what happens? The system gets blocked, so it can't provide service to anybody. So that's what happens in DOS. So here are very interesting facts about cybersecurity. This is I have understood from my experiences. Either you code or not to code is a choice. You can select your choice. It's an evergreen domain. So and the most important, you know what everybody is doing. So it's something very excited, and it's a very keen and cautious thing to know like what is happening in and around. And it's definitely most easier than the most of the professions. It's like you can be an analyst, you can be an engineer, you can be a tool developer. It's all out of your choice. It's not always that you have to know one specific theme and theory. Then we have an exponential growing and earning. This is very true. There's a very nice growth in the domain of cybersecurity. Yes, I think it's really well. It just helps you because the more you research, the more you learn, is something that helping you to grow and learn. Yes, thank you. This is what I could share with everybody, and
Uh,
this is what I could do.
yeah, thank you, Vaishnavi, because
Thank you,
you have
sir.
spent your lot of valuable time as you are so busy during your daily schedule. Okay, yeah, you can leave meeting. Thank you once again, Vaishnavi.
Thank you,
Be
sir.
very busy with your schedule. Thank you once again. Yes.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, and Kailash, Gupta College, our college, for this opportunity. So I could share my experience. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yes. Uh, yeah, Vaishnavi, you can leave. No problem. No. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Just I wanted to just have a brief, like thing about the topic what we have. We have 5 units here, and each deal with its respective part. Okay, so just I will share just for a second. I'll not take much of your time. It's visible, I guess. Yeah, it's visible. So we have 5 units here, and first is dealing with the ethical hacking. Okay, like foundation for ethical hacking. Then we have a security for foundation. There we are going to learn about certain policies, risk, standards, and procedures with respect to your security terms. And we are going to work on footprinting and reconnaissance. Okay, there are certain attacks and how we are going to deal with them. That we are going to deal here in the second unit. In the third, we deal with certain scanning, things with respect to the networks, that is ping sweeps, port scanning, vulnerability scanning. Okay, and how we are going to deal with this. That we are going to learn over here. And in the fourth chapter, we are going to learn about the different types of exploits or gathering the password, okay, hacking them, cracking them. That all will be learned in the fourth chapter. And in the fifth chapter, we are going to work on certain aspects like social engineering, okay, physical social engineering, phishing attacks, and how we are going to exactly attack the website. Okay, so that all topics will be covered here. Okay, so when it comes to the pay scale of a security engineer. Okay, so when I say the security specialist salary in India, it ranges right from 5 lakhs to that of 15 lakhs. Okay, so even it could range from different domain. Okay, with respect to security, you have again different domains, and you may definitely get a different high salaries. Here, this is the Cognizant Technology Solution, which provides a 10 lakh plus salary per year. HCL technology is 4 to 5 lakhs. That is what depend upon the type of job you do at that specific site. So Wipro provides you 14 to 15 lakhs, IBM 11 to some or 15 lakhs. Okay, GE that is 9 to 10 lakhs. So there are a number of different companies. They require us a cyber specialist. Okay. So if you still have any queries, you can ask or you are free to ask us. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Raghavendra sir and Vaishnavi, for their valuable suggestions about cybersecurity and its applications and its opportunities in industries. Thank you very much for Raghavendra sir and resource person. So now I request Prashant Niranjan sir to explain about programming in C++. It's over to you, Prashant sir, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Right? Yes. Yes. Am I audible, Amol? Amol?
Yeah, Prashant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. So I am Prashant Niranjan, working as assistant professor in computer science department. So I welcome all the students and the resource person for the open elective presentation on object-oriented programming using C++. So this is offered for all other branch students. Okay. And so today we like basically what is C++? Okay, so we are implementing object-oriented concepts by using C++ programming language. Like we have many like in this open elective, we are trying to cover the basic fundamental concepts of C++ and OOPS concepts like the basic concepts of C++, how to create classes, how to create objects, and what is an inheritance, polymorphism, what is an operator overloading, and what is an function overloading, and how we can use templates, and what is an standard template library. And also I'll be dealing with the number of like applications where all this programming language can be used, and how company uses this C++ language in real life. Okay, as I can discuss that C++ is mainly used for game development. Okay, mainly for like even the Counter Strike. Okay, they have used C++ language to develop that game, right? So here today we have with us like industry person Amol Deshpande. Okay, he's our alumni. Okay, and currently he's working in IBM India, Bangalore. Okay, and so he has very good skills like he worked in Python, Angular, Java. Okay, and also he has worked as an intern in IBM India, Bangalore. So, so over to you, Amol. Okay, I just request you to share the views, like how we can use this C++ subject in, according to your perspective, how we can use this C++ in industry, like what kind of projects, in real-time projects, how we can, and how it is beneficial for the students, and what is the future for the C++ language. Okay, and what all projects comes under this C++ language. So you can share all your views and you can give the inputs for the students. Yeah, over to you, Amol.
Yeah, sure, Prashant. Let me bring up my screen.
Yeah, you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Shall I stop presenting?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes. Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Prashant sir. Just to give a little background about myself, like as Prashant sir already said, I graduated GIT on in 2019. So later in my final year, I got an internship offer from IBM, and after 6 months, I got a full-time offer. So basically, in my day-to-day job, right, I work on various different technologies like Java, JavaScript, React.js, all the JavaScript framework. Even I work on the DevOps side as well. So I have a quite a good experience working with the different technologies. And of course, this is my the LinkedIn ID and Gmail ID. So if you guys need any information about how the technology works in different industries, so you can always ping me. I'm always there. So just before going deep into before going into the application side, so I always tell about myself and tell to other folks, before learning any language, right, try to understand why that particular language was invented. So just to give a little, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Just I'll explain in 1 to 2 minutes. Just to, like, if we go back to 1960s or 1970s era, right? That particular era was completely ruled with mainframes, right? Like, if you talk about my company, right, IBM, basically IBM has a market share of around 80 to 90% of mainframe in the entire tech industry. So, like, if you check the above image, right, this is one of the mainframe, how it used to look like. We used to have a small screen, and we used to enter a lot of queries related to what computation you want to do, and based on that it would give a result. Now there is a one problem if you look into it, like this particular there were of course, right, you cannot just give a mainframe to the industry. You need to have some software which should be integrated into that. So basically, that time they introduced COBOL, ALGOL, Fortran. Obviously, these all languages were developed in IBM. The problem with that is, then during 1970s or 1980s, we started getting all those personal computers, right, on the top, on the left bottom side. So this is how the personal computer looked like. So basically, how can you install all this operating system? Basically, what software we had, we used to call it as MOS, the mainframe operating system. That requires huge computation and huge memory utilization. Basically, all those softwares you cannot use in our small personal computer. So to overcome that problem, right, like you guys must know this guy. He's a Dennis Ritchie. He's a legend in our technical industry, who converted, who made a revolution by introducing a language called C. And of course, right, C is known for compilation and performance. Just to give you an idea why C is that much important. Like, see, this is a Geeks for Geeks, one of the famous website, right? Like, see, the last update is 21st September 2021. Like, if you just Google it, like top 10 fastest programming languages in the world, till now, like, basically the C was invented, like it was published in around 1980s or 1970s. Till now, 2021, it remains at the top position, like, which really gives an idea how much a high performance the C language is. So basically, C is completely known for the performance, right? So based on the C, you invented, you published Unix. He started a Unix operating system, and of course, right, in Unix led to Linux, and all the mobile devices which you see, like maybe it is Android or the Mac OS, everything is developed, or it is a different version of Linux. And if you check, the Linux is of course developed by with a C. So that's how powerful the C language is. Even now, still that C language is used. Why C language is really memory efficient? Because it gives a concept called pointer. So, like, you guys must know, right, what is a pointer. Pointer is nothing but you get a chance, or you get a library to play with the hardware, like play with the different memory allocation, which makes it really memory efficient and really powerful language. Of course, so based on the C, and it had a little limitation. So the C++, right? So that guy came in called Jan Stoustrup. Basically, you pronounce, basically people pronounce from European side as Bjorn Stroustrup. And of course, he introduced OOPS concept. Like, I'm sure the Prashant service is going to cover on the OOPS concept, right? So basically, introduced OOPS concept. It's known as object oriented programming. Just to give a little basic about OOPS is that, suppose I want to develop a complete website like this, right? Geeks for Geeks. I have to develop on big application. So in the tech industry, basically how we develop a application, it's not like one person just starts with a hash include iostream rotation and goes on continue. It basically doesn't work like that in all those big industry. Our software is like, it is written, like, if you check the code, right, it is written with millions and millions of lines of code. So all those big applications and lakhs of developers who develop that product. So we need that modularity. So what the OOPS concept is all about, right? Dividing this big application into the small chunks. And of course, like, you create the object, you provide the security, and like you guys will understand when you go, when you try to understand OOPS concept. So that was the OOPS concept. And even he introduced OOPS in that C++, and exception handling, like a try catch method. Basically, if your application fails sometime, right, your application should not completely terminate. There should be some kind of a handling. So even that, but that is one of the very important concept which was introduced in C++. And of course, it come up with a very rich library. When I give you a real life example, right, you'll really get to know. And basically, this since that C programming has a lot of advantage, right, of course, even it comes up with a lot of disadvantage as well. It is not at all platform independent. So now I had like you guys must know what is platform independent. It's all about like if you write a code in one operating system. So operating system, like we have different operating systems, like right, like Mac OS, Windows, Linux. So basically, like if you take example in Java, right? If you write a code in Java and if you convert it into a bytecode, you can run it anywhere in no matter what operating system you use. If it has the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine, then khatam. Like you can that application can be run on that particular OS. But C is not like that. Like if you develop a code, if you compile the code in C, right, the executable file, like executable code is generated. So it is not at all the platform independent. Of course, there is a compromise on security as well. Just to give you example, what is the compromise on like security? There is some big flaw in C++, which I would like to tell you guys. So basically, if you check the IT industry, right, how we basically offer a product or offer a library. Basically, we with the concept of object oriented programming, right, we write it as an abstraction. Basically, one particular library we completely abstract it, and with the help of abstraction, right, with the help of oops concept, we try to provide security. What are the different type of security we have? We have access specifiers, right, like private, public, protected. Of course, if you check more, if you learn more about the oops concept, you'll come up with these keywords: private, public. Private keyword, which means you cannot access the data outside the class, and public means you can. And of course, all these things. Basically, we provide this abstraction and security, and we provide the end user with a proper documentation. And like we'll ask you, like you can create the object and use our inbuilt what is that inbuilt functionalities. And you as a client, you pay the money, you take that, we provide you the credentials, and we provide you the the implementation details, and you will create the object and you'll go on using the project. So basically, that's how it works in the IT company. And I'll tell you why the C++ is not it's not very easily used. I'll just give you one example, right? I'll just there is a simple code which I would like to explain. Just go it through quickly. Like there is a class, and I'm assuming that you have a basic knowledge of how the C++ program is written. Basically, we have a class, and initially we'll have a private data members, and we'll have a public members. Basically, this is a concept of operating system. So these are nothing but private and public are nothing but the access specifiers. The concept of about ops is that if you write anything in private, like this int x y, this comes under the private access specifier, which means these variables are not supposed to be accessed or modified outside the class. Like I said, these are our library, and we provide the implementation to the user. So now the user, what he does is he'll create the object and he'll start using all the methods. I'll just give you one flaw which is there in C++, right? Like I create the object here, and then with a, as you guys know, C++ comes with the concept of pointers. Like I told you, right? C++ or C is all about memory efficiency, all about playing with the memory. So they have the concept called pointer. So what I'll do is, like whatever object I create, I'll instead of taking this value, I'll take this address, like whatever the object is there, right? I'll typecast it, I'll get this particular address, and then I'll if I have that address, right, how you assign the value to that particular address? By using the star. If I do that, right, in that particular memory location, you will be able to modify it. So now I'll just run the code. Like you can see, in the private member is x and y, and nowhere in my class I'm changing the value of that this particular data type, right? But also I'm able to hack it. Like I'm able to get that particular address and change that particular value from, even though the access specifier is private. So basically, this is the a little flaw in this C++ programming language. This is the reason why all those big application or banking related software application, right, we stick to Java or the Python instead of C++. But C++ is mainly used for all the, like wherever you need performance, right, system related software, we use C and C++. So I'll just quickly go into what are the major applications. Like Prashant sir already said, it's all about gaming. Now I'll ask you, why C++ is used in gaming? Like I told you, of course, right, in game, what do we need? Like we play a lot of games. Even like Prashant sir said, even Counter Strike is also developed in C++. I'll say not only Counter Strike. You see any games, like one of the popular game, right? Player Unknown Battleground, PUBG. Even this is also developed in C++. So basically, the concept is right. C++ is nothing but one of the most efficient and high performance language. And basically, what device we use to play this PUBG? A normal with 4 GB RAM or normal with a 6 GB RAM. Just imagine, like in the particular mobile, 6 GB RAM with that amount of processor, we are able to play this big game. That is possible because of the C++ programming language and the performance it provides. And of course, just to give a example, like if you are interested in the gaming field and if you want to develop a game like that, there is one of the powerful tool called Unity. I don't know if you guys have heard. If you say Unity, right? Unity Real Gaming. It's one of the most famously used game engine. I think even for the students, they offer, like, you can go through this particular documentation. You can create PUBG like games with this particular software. This is one of the highly used application. And second is, of course, right, the scientific calculations. Like, even I'll again come back to the performance. Like, of course, when I'll just give an example in NASA, right? NASA, and even in the ISRO, all the robotic written in C and C++. So of course, if you have a goal, or if you have a target of going somewhere there, interested in the robotics, interested in the hardware, then the C++ is one of the biggest language there. And of course, the second and the third application is video editors, right? Like I told you, like I don't know if you guys have known, so whenever you edit a video or whenever you create some video, the time it takes to render is really large. Because of C++, like, it will be able to reduce that, increase that performance. You'll be able to play with those pixels efficiently. And of course, it is used in databases, it is used in the Arduino and Raspberry Pi. And of course, this is one of the mainstream. And like, I would like to call upon one of my friend here. Basically, I am at the application layer. Like, one of my friend, he's alumni of the GIT, and he has worked many projects in Raspberry Pi and the Arduino. So, you would like to share few thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, Amol. Okay. So, hello guys. Thank you for a wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge on this platform. Okay. So I don't waste much time, and I will just go with the flow. Okay. Okay. So, are you able to see my screen, Amol?
Yes.
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. So, as Amol told and Prashant sir told, and
Yeah, it's not. Vinod, it's not visible. Yeah. Now it is visible. Where do you see our screens? Yeah,
okay.
you can. Yeah, continue.
So my expertise in embedded electronics, and I have some knowledge in that, and I am not that expert. And as Amol told, and the C and C++ were used whenever the factor arises, when we need to consider memory as an important factor and the speed as an important factor. So on that point, I need to give some insights on where exactly it is used. So these are some of my projects where I developed some home automation and some in automation in agricultural uses. And there I developed the entire thing using the C only, embedded C. And at the core, how every programming language or every processing, how it's work means, whenever we write a code, after compilation and after going through the assembler, and the binary code will be produced. Those binary codes, nothing but zeros and ones, then the transistor will be flipped on that manner. So when we consider memory as a factor, we go to C and C++, because C and C++ we work directly closely with the registers, and we come to know where exactly we are wasting memory, or where exactly the memory leakage is happening. So when we think about embedded systems, there we have a very small amount of memory. So in that, we need to fit our large codes in there. So at that time, we consider C and C++. These are some of my projects, and here you can see that I developed one motor controller system, and the components I used are these are some of the components: C112 Wi-Fi, wireless communication module, and after that I tried to use the LoRa. So one of the application is when we consider IoT. So in IoT, the most of the things were sensors and microprocessors and microcontrollers. So at that time, we are not able to use the high level languages like Java or Python. So recently we have the industry get to know about the MicroPython. So we can use the MicroPython, but it's also not efficient as C and C++ were used here. Okay, so one of the example in sensor networking is the Amazon Go. So where the what we can say, the store is fitted with a lot of sensors, as you can see here, and all these are sensors are fitted in each rack, and when a person can walk in and take the things whatever he want, and that will be automatically processed, and the bill payment will automatically happen by whatever the things the person will buy. So next, yeah, all these things were built using microcontrollers and the small processors. So here the memory is the most important factor. We need to consider we need to save a lot of memory, and we need to stop wasting leakage of a memory here. So here at the core level, we can use C and C++, so that we can find the where exactly the things are going wrong. And the next thing is when we consider speed as a factor. Okay, so all we know that we have cars, and in the car system there is a lot of electronics happening in there. So if you consider companies like Bosch, they have a CAN system. So the CAN system is entirely developed using a C and C++. So what is the CAN system means? So whenever we want to start a car, so whenever we turn the key, the initially we need to know that car is in a good condition. So at that time there were sensors fitted to a fuel injector, and there were sensors fitted to a crank of the engine, and there were sensors fitted to a what we can say that the coolant system and oil system. So we get the data from that, and we verify the computer, the embedded system fitted on the car will verify that everything is right. Then only ignition going to happen, and the fuel is going to be injected to a engine. So all these things should happen at the time when we just try to what we can say, rotate the key. So there is a very small time is there. So in that time everything should happen. Okay, so at that level we use the C and C++ is only used to make this work properly. And then one of the thing is, another thing is, so whenever some accidents are happens, so at that time before we hit the dashboard by our face, the airbags will be opened first. Okay, so there the reaction time will be a very small amount. It means we need to have a very small amount of reaction time by the sensor to the processor, and it should inflate the what we can say, airbag in that fraction of seconds. So at that level, at that time, C and C++ will be used for the coding of embedded, means at the hardware level of coding. There we consider more, many what we can say factors, the buffers, and so many factors are there. But the basic thing is we use a C and C++. So here is the one of the basic CAN example where we are getting the data from all the sensors to our dashboard, and the microprocessor is processing all the sensor inputs, and if everything is okay, then every flags are good, and then you're good to go, start the engine. Otherwise the car will not start. Okay, so next thing is as we can see in modern era now, the every process is going to be automated. Means in industry there are a lot of repetitive process were there. Those process are continuously automated in modern era. Okay, so as you can see, a gigafactory established by a Tesla company. There the even the lithium battery which is produced, that also will be that also is automated. There is no single human in that factory in the production of a lithium battery. So everything will be automated. So at that time we use the camera networks, sensor networks, and we use robotic systems, as Amol told here. The entire thing will depend on speed and accuracy. So at that time we are using a C and C++. So in nowadays, in the next thing what industry is going towards is the industry I know which is working on is Siemens technology. So in Siemens, what they are doing is they are considering a HSLV design, high level synthetic design, and there they are using C and C++ software to for verification of their VLSI or FPGA designs. Means here as you can see nowadays, the artificial intelligence is becoming one of the important factor in our the modern society. So at that time, just to give you an example, so when we open a camera, okay, so when we start the camera, so at that time when we try to take a selfie, our faces were auto detected, right? So at that time, the auto detection happens like this, means the camera sensors will read the image and it will send to a processor, and processor will process the image and detect the image, and it again displays back in the camera system. Okay, so this was the cycle in a classical computer system. Okay, so this there is some time consumption happening, and also we are giving a load to a processor. Okay, so now what Simons are working on means they are dividing a task in such a way that either way we are what we can say, we are capturing the image by using some micro electronics by in a pixel manner in a camera. Okay, so they are trying to design a microprocessor where the entire neural network will be embedded in the micro system level, C level only, and when the image we capture pixel values, when it pass through those processors, we get to the image will process it automatically, and we get to know about the what are the things are there in image and like that. So this was one of the leading things happening in the industry right now, and this is the example of FPGA design. Here you can see all these things. When we go to the microprocessor level, means when we go to the hardware level, there we get to see only C or C++ will be introduced there. So we can say that operating systems are also built using C or C++. So this was a case in industry happening in Bosch and in Siemens, and wherever you go, they are using C and C++ only for their what you can say, for the products whichever they are building, for systems whichever they are building, CAN system and everything. So this was the case in industry. So C and C++ is not a old technology. So it has a very important factor in the industry right now. It has a most need in the industry, because we get to see that so many smart watches, smart gadgets are coming into the market. So at the heart of them, if you consider a coding factor, only C and C++, using only C and C++, the entire things are developed. Okay, so this was what happening in the industry. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amol, and thank you, Vinod, for sharing your valuable knowledge. The way you have like mapped the industry concepts, how we can use C++ language in real time projects. It was a very wonderful session, and definitely it was very beneficial for the students to choose which elective is best for them according to their interest. Right. Once again, I thank Vinod and Amol for sharing your valuable inputs. Yeah. Yeah, Vinod and Amol, you can leave the meeting, and yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Just a minute. I'll be sharing my. I'll be just sharing my slides. Entire gathering. Yes. So I'll be dealing with object-oriented programming using C++. This is offered as an elective by CSC department. So what is an object-oriented programming? So this is an general-purpose programming language. Okay, it is developed by, as Amol and Vinod, they have already discussed. Okay, it has been developed by Jarnes Stroustrup. And here mainly we are dealing with the classes and objects, okay, and in that it has been linked with the methods or the functions which they are associated with, right? So let's consider an example of an employee class where we have the several data members and the methods, okay. So whenever you are going to develop any projects, you are going to consider these data members and the methods. Okay, and next, a C++ supports object-oriented program, and these are the major pillar of we can say object-oriented programming major pillars. Okay, and these are like inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. So these are the four concepts are the major pillars of object-oriented programming, and let's consider like inheritance, like when you want to derive, okay, reusability of an code. Okay, in that case, we can use this inheritance concept, and polymorphism is an ability to take more than one form, and encapsulation is where the binding of data and functions that is called as a class, and abstraction is you are extracting some essential features, hiding with some background details. That is what we call it as an abstraction. Okay, and next we have the classes and methods. Okay, so as each and every object or the class has some attributes, because suppose even when you take an example of an car, it has some attributes like color, brand, and model. Even it has to it has to have some methods to perform some plan of action, or some action has to be performed, right? So for that we require some methods. And mainly this C++ is very most popular language for game development, right? So when you consider even most of the scientific community, okay, they are working on the C++ language, and even in the financial industry, okay, and even to develop some device driver, okay, you have an device, and for that software support is required, right? So for that this device driver has to be developed, even for software defined networking, and even to develop some operating system and embedded software, right? As we know, he discussed about the embedded C and C++ is one of the important thing, even if it is an old, but it is one of the booming language, because most of the hardware part we are writing the drivers, or when you're going to develop any operating system, the C++ is must. And so as C++ is very important in game development, when you consider even it is useful for developing some big console or Windows games. Apart from that, it is also useful for developing like Counter Strike, Football Pro, StarCraft, Master of Orion. So all these games are developed by using the C++ programming language, and even most of the game engines are written in C++. Okay, considering real world applications of C++, okay, it is useful for game development. Even when you are developing any GUI interface like the Winamp media player, okay, that is a musical player, even that has been developed by using C++. Even for database software like MySQL Server, even when you want to develop any software for your industry, enterprise software can be developed by using C++. And considering browsers and operating systems, all for all this we can use C++ programming language. So which companies using this C++ language? Okay, so well-known tech companies, okay, most of the IT companies like the Evernote, LinkedIn company, Microsoft, Opera, NASA, and Facebook. Okay, even that Evernote company switched from .NET to C++ for more speed and better graphics, right? So here, most of the well-known companies are using C++ for their implementation of projects. And what career paths you can have if you know C++ programming language? You can be a digital electrical engineer and programming multimedia desktop applications, software development manager, or you can be a DevOps engineer, right? So even you can give game developer, or senior software engineer, right? So there are many careers are available when you know C++ programming language. And this is what we'll be discussing in our syllabus. Okay, so this is, I'll just give the overview of syllabus, what I'm going to cover in my fifth sem open elective. So first unit is basically about the introduction part of C++, like what data types we have, what kind of variables we have, and what are the different operators, what are the control structures in C++. And the second unit is about how we deal with the functions, how we what is call by value, call by reference, and how what is function overloading, and how we can do memory allocation to the objects, and how we deal with creating a classes, right? And the third unit is about constructors, destructor, and operator overloading. So as you know, like constructor is useful for creating the to initialize the objects of its class, right? Even destructors, how it can be used for destroying its value or destroying its objects of an class. So, and even overloading unary and binary operator, and the syntax of operator overloading, all these examples will be covered in this unit third. And then coming to unit 4, we have inheritance, pointers, and virtual functions. So you know, like what is an inheritance? It's an deriving a new class from an old class, right? So suppose you have so you are the child and you have inherited some features from your parent. That's what we call it as an inheritance. And when you use the inheritance concept, a lot of features are extracted from your base class or from your parent class. So there is no need to no need to write the code again and again, right? So that is what reusability concept is, one of the important concept that is very helpful in C++ language, especially when you are using the inheritance concept. Next, coming to unit 5, we have templates and STL, that is standard template library. So how we can define the generic classes, how we can define the generic templates, or so that it is matching for all the data types, right? We can define the function templates, class templates. Even we can use standard templates for where we can implement the containers where it has some list stacks. How we can use list stacks by using these concepts, and algorithms we can implement like sort, reverse. There are different types of an algorithms are involved here, and iterators that is useful for extracting the values, right? So all this is what summarized about the syllabus. This is going to be covered in the 5th sem open elective of object oriented programming, and these are the reference textbook, and you are going to refer the Z Balguruswamy, and there are some reference textbooks, and these are the outcomes. Okay, after learning this subject, you are going to be you're going to discuss all this object oriented concept, and you're going to solve all the you're going to design and develop all the solutions for the complex problems, and you'll be dealing with the you can easily deal with the inheritance problems, polymorphism problems, and the file streams, right? So this is what we have it in the C++ programming language, and this is what like according to the academia and according to the industrial perspective. So we have shared our inputs, and so this is what I have it in for object oriented programming using C++. Okay, so I thank all the students for patient listening, and also I thank Girish sir and HOD sir for arranging this session. Okay, so that the students can get the knowledge of the open elective which is suitable for them, and so that they can choose the best elective of their interest. Right. So thank you one and all. Yeah, have a good day.